And welcome back, everybody, to a podcast in space and time. I'm Holden B. Huffman.
I'm Kendal Coffee.
And today we are watching and reviewing Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 11, Boomtown. So join us right after this. Well, Kendal, this episode with the Slovene is actually really good.
Yeah, so I have a weird relationship with this season because the first two Slovene episodes are very bad.
Right.
But if they didn't exist, we wouldn't have this kind of a gem of an episode.
It's true. This is a really good episode. Did Davies do this one? I'm trying to remember.
I'm not sure.
Let me check. I said I would check, but I guess you can check too.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up the info on the episode so we can have it right in front of us.
Yeah, we should do. We'll do that next time. Yeah, Davies did it. Davies did it.
Okay. Yeah. Very kind of. There's not a lot of action to it, which I kind of enjoy. It's really more of a character drama than anything.
Right. With Doctor Who, it can be done so beautifully. Yeah,
it's very rare that you get an episode like this. A lot of what Doctor Who is about is running down hallways and spaceships exploding, but it's really nice to have this kind of episode, especially I think it came at kind of just the right time in the season too. Before everything kind of breaks loose
before the finale.
Yeah, it's nice to have this kind of episode that it's a bit of a thinker, a bit of a moral conundrum more than anything, and I really do like it.
Yeah, no, I noted down some really great lines from this episode. And just to not clarify, but I mentioned in either Aliens of London or World War III, I wasn't sure. I said I didn't think the blue effect was in this episode, but it is.
Yeah, it was.
It's just not as extreme.
Right. When she was in the toilet stall, you could sort of see it flashing under the door.
Yeah, and speaking of the toilet stall, that is the worst fart thing we've heard of all time. That's probably my biggest gripe with this episode, even though it has the least amount of fart jokes. It has the worst one.
We got definitely the worst one. I am glad that they really toned it back though. This episode kind of did everything right that I feel like World War III and Aliens of London did wrong. Where it really gave Annette Badland's character, Margaret Blaine, it really gave her room to shine.
Right.
Because she kind of knocked it out of the park. She was very good all throughout this episode.
Oh, yeah. She was really good. I wouldn't say she's my favorite villain of the series, but she's definitely one of them.
Yeah, and she did a really good job of kind of balancing, the sort of over-the-top mustache-twirling villain with,
Okay, there were times, though, where if I was just one of those people, I'd be like, hey, she's evil. It's obvious.
Yeah. This is obviously very threatening. I shouldn't follow this woman to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm like, if she had a mustache and twirling, it wouldn't be any more obvious.
Yeah. But she balanced that really well with the more just kind of, I don't want to say human moments, but, the more quiet, subtle moments. I really enjoyed her conversation with the doctor when they're in the restaurant on their quote-unquote date.
Yeah. Down some notes on that. Just love them having dinner. One of my favorite lines, but I won't get into that really until the spoiler section because it really involves a lot more of the Doctor Who lore. Overall, I don't want to get into that quite yet.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed her kind of the comparison between her and the Doctor, because I mean we've seen this a lot in stories, like the villain kind of saying, you know, you and I were the same, and it's usually not really true.
But this time it's very true.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the exception where, yeah, there is truth to it. I don't think they are really the same, but I think they do have similarities in, you know, I mean, they both killed. They both they both ended life, and in some circumstances ended life almost mercilessly.
Right.
But I mean, the difference obviously is that the Doctor has done it in service of kind of the greater good, whereas she's done it in service of like
herself.
Yeah. But still, I mean, they're both killers, so they're both kind of on that same level. And I really enjoyed that. Like, there was sort of this moral conundrum for the Doctor to like decide: am I going to send this person to their death?
And luckily, he doesn't have to. Like, that's a great resolve to where he doesn't have to, and she does get the second chance she wanted.
Yeah, I appreciated that. The ending was, I mean, it was in a way kind of a Deus Ex Machina. That's a tough one. It was a little bit out of left field, but it was.
It was, but really, that's for later on. They did that.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Right. But what I do appreciate about it is that it all came down to something that was a natural character choice for her. Like, she looked into the TARDIS and what it kind of implied, I don't think it like straight up said this, but it kind of implied that she like basically told the TARDIS, I want a second chance, and the TARDIS gave it to her. So
right.
The way it happened was a little bit contrived, but what happened was not. What happened was very natural for the story. And I also liked Mickey kind of being on the other side of that argument with the Doctor, kind of,
right,
you know, being on the side of like, are you really going to like watch this person die? Are you really going to send her to her death?
Wait a minute. Like, she asked Mickey, would he be able to do it? He did it. He's the one who launched the missile and killed the family of the Slovene.
Yeah. And I wonder if like there was some of that coming into like what he was thinking at the time, you know?
It's
like
very possible.
I wonder if he was thinking about that and thinking like, yeah, I did that. And if there was some regret there. I kind of wish they had explored that a little bit.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I think that would have added some weight to that would have added like some more weight to his character in this episode. But I mean, there was already a lot going on with him.
Right. And it would have been overkill to add a little more.
Yeah, I wish they had kind of like, I don't know. I think that would have been the more interesting story to explore this episode, but I get why they explored like his and Rose's relationship. But
which brings me to another reason why I just don't like Rose. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a tough episode because in a way I think it's really tough. In a way I think she does the right thing in the end by kind of letting him go, but
she does. But
she
does. But spoiler alert, I know we're not in spoiler territory, but spoiler alert, she still considers him a boyfriend later on.
Yeah, and I think if they had kind of left it the way they leave it in this episode and her just like letting him go, she even admits like, you know, that he deserves better. And I think like we really see in this episode too that they're kind of existing in two totally different worlds now, you know. While she and Mickey are having that conversation like by the water, you know, her talking about like her going to this amazing planet and the frozen waves and all that.
Right. And just a quick side note, I wrote down that it's nice to hear other TARDIS adventures we didn't see, just to show that there was more going on than what we've seen.
Yeah, I always appreciate that in a show when they kind of talk about like the stuff that kind of happened off screen.
Yeah.
It's fun. It makes the world feel a little more full.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, you can see in that conversation that he's kind of coming to the realization that they are pretty much living in totally different realities now, and
Hmm.
even if it had been working before, they're not really going to be compatible anymore with
Right.
everything that she's seen, and also just like her willingness to kind of leave him behind for something more
Hmm.
exciting.
Right. And I have written down Mickey going out with someone else. Oh no, Rose feels bothered by that.
Yeah, I thought she was kind of being a little hypocritical
Literally
when she
flirts
kind
with
of got
every
mad.
guy.
Yeah, I mean she's flirted with like Adam and
Adam,
Jack and the
Jack.
doctor, and
And
so
who
she
knows else?
doesn't.
There's obviously they do other adventures off screen, so who knows who else she's flirted with.
Yeah, and I think in a way that was to show her kind of getting a taste of her own medicine.
Hmm.
Like I don't think the show is unaware of that part of her character. Like
Hmm.
I don't think it's like necessarily dismissing.
Right.
It's not really dismissing that. That's kind of what this whole episode is about. Like kind of Rose seeing that she's kind of been awful to Mickey.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I kind of wish they had just left it at that. I think
Yeah.
that would have been a really good opportunity for her to like grow, and maybe next season they could have had a good friendship out of it. But
Mm-mm.
anyway, let's see.
Hmm.
I really liked
The dubbing over the prosthetics was really good. Over
yeah, I
the
think
being prosthetic.
the prosthetics had some issues with not really
Being able to show much emotion.
right, but again, Annette Badland like gave a really
Oh yeah, no, she's doing good. That was more of a note just to the design department about the prosthetics because there was just so much prosthetics.
right. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like her voicing on top of that really made
Hmm.
it work.
And the sound
Even
and
if
the soundtrack, the score helped as well.
oh yeah, for sure. I thought that was a really good scene of her in the bathroom like talking to the girl. Um, And I liked that they brought it back later with the doctor kind of like calling her out and saying, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you let her go because that's how you like live with yourself. You let one go every once in a while.
Spoken like someone who was killed.
Right. And, the doctor is speaking from experience there. And I
Yeah.
think, he's aware of that. We see that he's aware of that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think he's just like taking a moral high ground there, but
Yeah.
and that's one thing I really like about the Doctor, that the Doctor is rarely kind of the really like dark gritty hero. I don't think he really falls into that category, but he's definitely a hero who has made mistakes and who
Yeah. Who
you
pay
know
who and when he does make the mistakes, he pays for them.
yeah. Yeah, and he can be a very like cheerful, very upbeat, very optimistic person, but at the same
Hmm.
time he is capable of doing terrible things. He's not just like straight one way or the other. He
Right.
has a balance of both, and I really appreciate that
Right.
about Nine, and also about like the character overall.
Mhm. And also, this episode really made me realize how much I miss Eccleston as the Doctor.
He was so good.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like all the Doctors, but there's just something very unique about his version of the Doctor and his performance.
Right.
I would have loved to have seen another season with him.
Oh, definitely. I really hope one day he'll return for like some of the audio stuff.
Yeah, I know. He and BBC had their issues in the past, but he seems to kind of be getting more back into it.
Yeah, he seems to be coming around on it now.
Yeah, and it may just be that like the people that he had an issue with in the past like are not
gone.
working with the BBC
Right.
anymore. I don't really know exactly what the situation is, and there's been a lot of like speculation and a lot of like supposed interviews of him saying what happened. We still don't really know what happened, and I don't
Right,
really
like
know.
all those interviews that do exist, he doesn't get into the specifics. He just says difference of opinions and everything.
And I think he's doing that intentionally. I don't think he really wants to
Bash them.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to like drag somebody through the mud. I think he's like it was a choice that he made that was very personal, and he doesn't really want like to air out his dirty laundry,
Right. Which is very respectful of him.
Yeah, like I respect that. And I honestly at this point I wouldn't really want to know like the full story because like he obviously doesn't want to tell it, and that's his decision.
Right.
Okay,
all the hate towards Cardiff.
Oh, Cardiff. I don't mind the occasional Cardiff episode.
No.
There are a lot of Cardiff episodes.
Well, basically all of them are Cardiff episodes because they're all filmed in Cardiff. The studio except Cardiff.
Well, yeah, except for like the occasional episode where they film on location in
right,
like another country.
That's when they got a bigger budget.
Once they have the budget for that, yeah.
We
didn't get any of those this season.
We didn't get any of that until series 6. Because like all the stuff they do later on based in America, it's still filmed in Britain.
Yeah.
Or at least the surrounding area.
Yeah, right. They'll just find a spot. It's like, this kind of looks like America.
Or just use a green screen.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
She's climbing out the window, isn't she?
So many good lines. I loved the banter between Jack and the doctor, and like the little bit of flirting at the beginning. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was great.
And then Jack's line about, or Mickey's line was like, "Captain of what? The Innuendo Squad?"
Yes.
That was very good.
Yeah, no, I wrote that down, that I love Jack and Mickey's relationship.
Yeah, I like their thing. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun without ever getting like too intense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't ever just like have it out or
right, and I have
each other's throats.
Right, and I have something else to say about it, but I'm waiting until spoiler territory.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Also, what a horrible place to hide that surfboard thing. Like, yeah. What if someone spilled a cup of coffee or a cup of tea on it?
Right? I mean, I guess, like, she was going with sort of the idea of hiding it in plain sight, but... Yeah, it's a little too plain sight, like a little too easy to get damaged or...
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's see. I really liked the effect of the heart of the TARDIS. I thought it looked very good.
It was really good. Also, we had a giant blue sky beam.
We did have a giant blue sky beam. Which I think this...
Go ahead.
This episode was like, before the whole giant blue sky thing was a cliche, so it's kind of ahead of the curve. But...
It really is. It really is. Like, you give a pass to, like, the originals that do it first.
Right, but then, you see, like, DC coming along and doing it 5 times.
It wasn't even just... Marvel did it so many times.
Marvel did it several times.
Iron Man, the Avengers...
the Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, yeah. That was the second one. That was Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
Yeah, there's no way I could have told you the name of that film.
Dude, you're talking to a big Ninja Turtle fan.
No, I knew you would know it.
Came out in 2016.
Yeah.
I could go further, but this is a Doctor Who podcast, not a Ninja Turtle podcast.
No, let's talk about Ninja Turtles for a little while.
I mean, we go on so many rants, so...
But yeah, the OG, well, probably not the OG, but like one of the OG Big Blue Sky beams. So respect the classics.
Yeah, definitely.
It's it is kind of that effect though. Oh, and I don't remember what it's called, but there's like a thing in media where, you've seen something, and it's usually talking more about like once you've seen something referenced so many times, but it also kind of applies to cliches that like when you see something over and over and over again, it kind of makes the first thing that did it almost like less enjoyable. Like the example I saw that was discussed was Borat and the like my wife joke. And it's like at this point, if you say my wife like Borat does, you're not even referencing Borat anymore. You're referencing like all the other things that have referenced it.
It's like The Office. I remember one particular quote. I don't remember what the quote was, but there's a quote in The Office that Michael says that's a reference to something else, but other people say, no, I'm quoting The Office.
Yeah, and it's like you get to a point where if you were to go back, if you hadn't seen Borat and you were to go back and watch it, like
you'd be like, oh, that's what Michael Scott said.
Yeah, when he actually says the thing, you wouldn't laugh at it because you've heard it a million times. And yeah, it's a similar thing here where like, this was one of the earlier things that did the blue sky beam, but we've seen the blue sky beam so many times that it makes it feel less original just in hindsight.
Right. Also, another mention of Bad Wolf, but it's just a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one was clever having it written. I think she had it written in Welsh.
Yeah, she did. And she said she just picked it out at random.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That's all the notes I have really for the non-spoiler stuff.
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay.
Pizza. Pizza. He wanted to get another pizza.
I think he wanted to go for pizza.
Okay, that's it.
I love Noel Clark. Noel Clark is so funny.
Okay, let's get into spoiler territory. Spoiler warning.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
That was good.
I can't believe Margaret Blaine dies in this one.
Well, you're not wrong, but you're not right.
I paused because I had to like go look at her name again because I couldn't remember.
I was literally about to not make the joke. I'm like, for once, I'm not going to make the I can't believe someone died joke. But then you did. I'm like, okay, why not? What I was talking about, Jack and Mickey's relationship, this is literally the only episode they're seen together until Journey's End in Series 4.
Is it? Huh.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking they had more episodes together.
No, only Journey's End.
Huh. Man, come on. BBC, give us more Mick Jack.
Yeah.
That's not a good one.
Yeah,
Mick, no. Harkmick.
How about Jackie?
No, Jackie's bad.
Yeah. We got Jackie Tyler. Forgot about that.
Anyway, give us more of that good stuff. BBC.
Yeah, hey, we got Jack back. We got Jack back in The Fugitive of the Jejune. Give us Mickey back. He's in our universe. He left the alternate universe.
I just want the time-traveling adventures of Jack Harkness and Mickey Smith.
Yes. I mean, there are rumors about the show Torchwood returning, so put Mickey...
And, get Martha up in the mix, too.
I mean, they are married now, and Martha was in a few episodes of Torchwood.
Because Martha needs more love as well. Okay, so one line I thought was really funny was I think it was Margaret that said it, that like Cardiff is one of the safest places in the world or in the universe. Who was it, or was it the doctor?
It was her. It was Margaret. It was Margaret. I remember.
Yeah, and my thought at that moment was like, okay, like statistically speaking, in the Doctor Who universe, that's not true.
Right.
A lot of bad stuff happens in Cardiff in the Doctor Who universe. Like in our universe, that might be true, but not in the Doctor
Well, maybe
Who.
at the time she said it.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I guess Old Who probably didn't have that much happening in Cardiff, but
I don't know. Like I said, I've not seen a lot of Old Who. One
yeah.
of my favorite lines was "Never mind the consequences," and that really reminded me of the girl who died in series 9, where the doctor says, "I'll do what I always do. I'll get in my box and I'll fly away before all my guilt catches up to me."
Yeah. And that's, I mean, this episode kind of nailed that aspect of the Doctor. The fact that the Doctor is a character who's always kind of running away from something.
Mm-hmm.
The first Doctor stole a box and ran away.
Not anymore. Not since the time.
Not anymore.
See, we got back to the Timeless Children.
Not since I think we promised we weren't going to talk about the Timeless Children in this episode, but here we are.
I'm sorry. It was just the perfect opportunity to.
In the good canon of Doctor Who, the Doctor stole a box and ran away, and like has been running ever since. And I think they literally say that in 11's time.
Something like that.
Stole a box and ran away, and I've been running ever since. Something like that.
I think that was when he was telling young Amelia, the story right before he went through the crack.
Yeah, I think so.
Another line I liked was, "Sit with a creature you're about to kill and take supper with. Do you have the stomach for it?"
Mm-hmm.
That was a solid line.
That was very good. One thing I caught, but I don't think it was like foreshadowing, because I think like it would be very good foreshadowing if it was. But the punchline of Jack's joke was, "I knew we should have turned left," which, like, if that's foreshadowing, that's like some next level stuff there.
I don't think it was, because when Catherine Tate did the Christmas special, it was intended to be just the Christmas special. Like, she didn't have any plans. Davies didn't have any plans for her to return at the time.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely like one of those things that, like, it's funny that it worked out that way, though.
Mm-hmm. I read something about that actually earlier today, that Davies didn't have any plans to her return at the moment.
Thank God she did, though. Like,
right?
For real.
There are some people who hate Donna, and I'm just like, screw you. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean that, but I kind of mean that. I can understand if you don't like a character, but when someone just expresses their hate towards her, I'm just like, I imagine that's how people feel towards me about Rose.
Yeah. I don't understand how you can hate Donna. She's just wonderful. I love her.
Yeah, Donna is the best. It's like the one of the only companions you don't see have a love interest with the Doctor. Her and Bill are literally the only ones.
I also like that they addressed that, like, very early on, where she's like, "You want to mate?"
I want a mate. I want a mate.
Like, they make it like very clear very early on. This is not going to be a thing. No, don't worry.
I only have one more note. I'm not sure about you.
I also was just going to mention that the next time.
That was my note.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, that it like gives away the twist of the next episode.
Right. Like, I had never seen this Next Time trailer, because when I watched this season, I binge watched it. So I just skipped to the Next Time trailers. So this was the first time I saw the Next Time trailer. And I'm like, what the heck? They put the Daleks in the Next Time trailer?
And it was in the last like 5 seconds of the trailer. It could have worked perfectly fine without that, and it could have been a nice surprise. But
it's like in series 10, the Next Time trailer for A World Enough in Time. The very last second, you have John Sims' master say a line, which they had previously announced before the season even begun, that he was returning. But like I said in a few episodes ago, I don't remember which one, if someone hadn't read the news, it's now ruined for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. It's become more and more of a thing with trailers where they kind of just give away all the good parts of the story.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's not get into that because we really got into that a while back. About good trailers versus the bad trailers.
Did we?
We did. We did.
I didn't remember if we talked about that on the podcast or like.
No, we have.
In general.
We have.
Because it is a thing I complain about a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we definitely have talked about it. I remember it.
Okay. And one thing, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I kind of also wish they wouldn't announce the next Doctor in advance.
Thank you. I have been thinking the same thing for so long. Like, I wish they wouldn't even say, Jodie Whittaker plans to retire from Doctor Who after series 13 or something like that. I'm like, aw, I kind of want it to be a surprise.
I mean, I can understand announcing when a doctor's leaving. I think because it is, you do kind of get emotionally attached to the Doctor, right? Like you get attached to the character and the specific iteration of the character.
Right.
So it is kind of good to like be able to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like knowing that you're on the last book of a series, Like
that's true.
You're gonna know in advance that particular story is ending. So I don't mind that.
That is true. That is true. But literally every Doctor of New Who was previously announced.
Yeah, I do think it'd just be kind of a fun surprise if you just find out who the next Doctor is in the episode, because like the Doctor is also finding out in the episode who the next Doctor is.
Right, because like before episode 1 of series 1 Rose premiered, it was already announced David Tennant was taking over in series 2.
Yeah, and we see with pretty much every version of the Doctor, once the actor is announced, people kind of
get
they kind of start
notions.
Right, yeah, they start like saying before they've even seen the show, like they keep saying whether or not this is going to be a good fit for the Doctor, and
they didn't really do it much for David Tennant because the show hadn't even premiered yet.
Yeah.
So they couldn't really say much at the time, but it was definitely that with Matt Smith.
Matt Smith was too young. Capaldi was too old. Jodie Whittaker was too female.
Yeah, yeah. Like they didn't have a problem with the Master turning into a female, but the Doctor, oh no, that's too far.
Well, and I think like part of it too was that to I guess the show's credit, they did keep Missy a surprise. We didn't know Missy was the Master until
Dark Waters.
Yeah, like so it was a nice surprise, and also like you already kind of knew the character, so you knew once it was revealed that the Master, it was almost it felt natural. It felt like, oh, of course she's the Master. This makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think, if we had seen sort of a similar thing with the other Doctors, maybe that transition to the next Doctor would, like, people would take it a little better, maybe in a way. They would be able to see right away kind of what this Doctor is going to be like without having to imagine it.
But then you got the people that just say, it's no longer Doctor Who, it's Nurse Who. I'm not watching it. I'm like, Rory was a nurse. What's wrong with that?
Like, I just don't even consider those people's opinions valid, y'all.
I don't either.
I
don't either.
It's 2020. Like, are you stuck in like the Middle Ages that you can't imagine a female Doctor? Come on. Go watch a different show. You're watching the wrong show.
Go watch Steven Universe. I'm sure you'll like that better.
Go watch She-Ra.
Well, I think that's all we've got for today.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay. So join us next time for Series 1. I'm losing my train of thought. Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 12.